Michaela Chester here for NCAA Digital. I'm joined by Tara Henry from D1 Softball. Tara, the 64 field championship field for softball has been announced. We have a tournament after a very long drought. We've got a lot to break down. I want to talk to you about a lot of stuff with seeding, what you're looking forward to, first round matchups. But first, I'll ask you a general question. What are the main storylines that are unique to this season's tournament that you're looking forward to seeing play out?
I think this is probably number one on every single human being that follows college softball. It's Washington at the 16 seed. Biggest storyline is the potential for Washington and OU to match up in the supers. I mean, I'm not quite sure what the committee's criteria was this year. We say that every year, but I'm not mad that we're going to get that supers matchup. I'm just kind of upset that it's not in the Women's College World Series, but we'll see if Washington can get out of that regional. It's going to be tough. They've got Michigan coming in as well. But that's probably, after digesting everything that happened on Selection Sunday, that is probably the biggest storyline of the year by far.
What are some of the first round matchups that you're looking forward to seeing that could be good games, maybe upset alerts, anything like that?
We're going to go straight back to that Norman regional. We've got Wichita State and Texas A&M. It's going to be an incredible matchup, and that's a first round game. So I think, even that Norman regional is going to be tough as well. And then JMU and Liberty. JMU, they've got one loss on the season, and they've got Adichie Alexander, and then Liberty coming in, and they've just been spectacular all season long. So I'd look out for both of those games heading into that first round.
Overarching now, regionals as a whole, what are some of the toughest regionals or interesting regionals that you've seen in this year's bracket? I know there's probably a few.
Well, again, I think we're looking at the Austin regional. I personally can't believe that Texas is hosting, and not only are they hosting, but the Oregon Ducks are flying in, and there's some history there with those two programs. Mike White, former Oregon Duck head coach, and now he's at Texas. And I just really think that is going to be an explosive regional, and it's going to be tough to see if, Texas can pull that one out. So we've got that. And, to be honest, I really believe that you've got a tough regional here in Los Angeles, and we'll go over that a little bit later, but it's going to be a pitcher's duel here in Los Angeles, and I'm excited to see what happens out of UCLA's regional in LA.
Are there any high seeds that you think should be on upset alert early in the tournament?
We talked about this. I think, Alabama is at 3 seed, and the committee sends a hot Clemson team in. They did lose to Duke in the ACC tournament championship, but Duke didn't hit a ball out of the infield. And you've got Valerie Cagle, potential player of the year. She was freshman of the year and player of the year in the ACC. And, it's going to be tough for Bama over there. And like I said, I think Washington and Michigan, it's going to be a dogfight up there in Seattle as well. So I'd keep a lookout on both those. And then Florida State in Tallahassee, they sent UCF there and Auburn. So we've got so many great regionals. I'm just so happy that we've got softball back, and it's been a while. I'm just glad we get to watch it all on television.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be interesting for sure. Are there any teams that you think have maybe an easier path? Who got out of this one easier than others?
I think Mizzou has a great path to get to the Women's College World Series. And Larissa Anderson does a great job with that team. And they've got, their regional, they've got UIC, UNI, Iowa State. And then in the supers, they potentially have Tennessee, which Tennessee's a 9 seed, which a little bit higher than I would have expected. But I would say that Missouri probably has the best path to OKC.
Let's go through the top 3 or 4 seeds, and I'll let you touch on that UCLA regional a little bit more. Oklahoma, UCLA, Bama. Take me through their regionals, what you're looking forward to, and these matchups that we're about to see.
We talked about the Sooners, and, Oklahoma's got to get through that regional first before they even think about Washington, Wichita State, Texas A&M, and Morgan State. Texas A&M, they put up a fight in the SEC, and then Wichita State, they've just been playing really good ball as of late. So Oklahoma's got a few tests in their regional. It's not an easy kind of 1 seed cakewalk. I would say Missouri's got a lot easier than OU does. And then we head on down to the number 2 seed, UCLA, the Los Angeles regional. And there's going to be some phenomenal arms in this regional. You've obviously got Rachel Garcia, Megan Faramo at UCLA. But then you've got Minnesota coming in with Amber Pfizer and Autumn Pease. They've been a great duo all season long. And then out of Fresno State, Haley Dulcini. I mean, she is spectacular. I was able to watch her a little bit this season and even last season when she had that big win against Texas. So there are going to be some incredible arms in the Los Angeles regional. And then Alabama, we got Alabama State, Troy, and Clemson for that 3 seed. Again, for a 3 seed regional, it's going to be tough for them. Troy's playing some great ball. We talked about Clemson and then Alabama State. So, Montana in the circle, they're tough to beat, the Crimson Tide with Montana in the circle. She brings a lot of fire. That team's clicking on all cylinders. They're super fun to watch. But those three top seeds should be really good for not only good softball, but good for viewing.
How about the SEC, Tara? We've got 5 SEC teams in the top 8. How do you think the SEC teams are going to fare in the tournament?
Well, there are a few matchups for the SEC where, you'd hope there's a few where they're pitted against one another, but you've got Kentucky and that 14th seed, and they've got Notre Dame with them in that regional with Northwestern and Miami, Ohio. That one will be actually a fun one to watch. So keep an eye on Kentucky, a little bit higher seed than I was expecting. But again, Rachel Lawson finds a way to win. And then we've got Arkansas. Arkansas's at the 6, and they've got Stanford flying out there. And the great thing about Stanford is people don't know Stanford didn't practice all of fall as a team. And what Jessica Allister has done with that squad in such a short amount of time, super impressed. She's got a lot of Alana Vaughter in the circle as well. And then you head to LSU. LSU, Louisiana, LSU at the 7 seed, potential to play Florida State at the 10 seed, and Florida State, Auburn. But LSU, we've got Louisiana. That's a huge rivalry, as we all know. And that'll be another potential. We talked about this. I picked LSU to get to the Women's College World Series in that way too early predictions.
Yes, you did.
So they've had some bumps, but they're now at the 7 seed. So, they did what they needed to do. The SEC has the potential to get, they're always at loads of teams in, but they've got potential to have a few in the Women's College World Series.
And then you've got Georgia hosting with Duke coming in as a potential.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I even forgot about that. You've got Georgia hosting, and you've got the ACC tournament champions Duke, which we all thought Clemson was going to get that seed, but then Duke comes in and plays phenomenal, and Georgia's hosting, but Georgia can hit, and they're always scrappy in the playoffs. So another SEC team to be on the lookout for.
Let's talk about the rest of the pack really quick with Arizona State. Let's touch on their regionals and what you see for them.
Arizona, I think, was probably as surprised as all of us were when their name was called. Really an 11 seed, and they placed 5th in the pack. With that saying, they've got incredible coaching staff. They've got an amazing super senior class that Arizona will be hosting, and Ole Miss. Ole Miss is a tough little squad. First year head coach Jamie Traxel there, so they'll be heading out there. And then Arizona State is actually the 15, which matches up with the 2, UCLA. There's some history there. So Arizona State's going to have some trouble, though, in Keely Richard, Virginia Tech arm. And Virginia Tech hits the ball as well. So it'll be, the ball flies out in Arizona. So that's going to be a fun one to watch in Tempe. But that's what we're looking for in the pack. And just really excited to get games started.
Well, Tara, thank you so much. We've got a lot of fun softball coming up. Looking forward to seeing it all play out. Thanks for joining me today.
Yeah, see you in OKC.